Hey folks, and welcome to the Globalist. Alright, see my messy room behind me? See my crazy curly mop of hair? Alright, what are we going to talk about for the first ever episode of this show for political news and analysis? So have you folks heard of the migrant army coming from Honduras? This big migrant army coming, and you know where they're headed. You know where they're coming to. They're coming to the U.S. because we're a first world nation. We got nice things. I think they can have a better life here. But here's the thing. We can't support them. We can barely support ourselves. The spending in this country is ridiculous. With all these migrants pouring through, coming here, they're not just going to take our jobs, they're probably going to take our welfare too, to be honest. And they have not been behaving themselves, certainly not in a civilized manner. We're talking about a group that literally, they come to the Mexican border, right? They broke through the Guatemalan border. I think it was Guatemala. They tore down a fence in what would seem like a mad rush. It certainly doesn't make one comfortable to think about it. I mean, some of them are women and children. I'm sure some of them are good people. But they're sure not displaying it. That's for sure. And I understand. I am not without heart. Honduras is a violent, uncomfortable place, and I see why they're moving. But they can't just come here and rely on us. We can barely support ourselves because of all the spending. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it just wouldn't be good for our country. Plus, some of them could be criminals, some of them could be, who knows? We don't know these people. I just don't like this ridiculous immigration situation we've had since as far back as I can remember. And this is the largest group of migrants that we've ever seen. Ever. 4,000 people. 2,000 of them apparently have turned back, according to Honduras. They said 2,000 of them were repatriated. And it was kind of funny, when they came to the Mexican border, a bunch of Mexican federales showed up, tried using tear gas and other methods to deter them. It's hey, Holmes, you can't cross our border, man. This is our country's sovereignty. And they're like, no, we're Hondurans. We don't recognize Mexico. I mean, sure, of course they recognize Mexico. I'm just being theatrical. It's my sense of humor as it is. But yeah, they're coming to the U.S. and they're not being peaceful about it. They're using whatever means they think they can. Some of them were even using, crossing into Mexico, using, man-made rafts, going over the river between the border, or risking their lives. Some of them are, malnourished. Some of them are dehydrated. They're just desperate. They want to be in America, really badly. And we just can't support them. We got our own problems to worry about. We can't spend our time worrying about their problems. People need to worry about their own problems instead of worrying about each other all the time, to an extent. It's there's helping people and then there's helping yourself. There has to be a balance in there somewhere. And immigration like this disrupts that balance massively. It makes things unnecessarily difficult on everyone. It's crazy. I understand, some say that there's no work in Honduras, that things are difficult for them there. We all have our challenges, some more than others. I just can't help but feel like running away to another country is cowardly. And I understand if they try to face it down and they're going to get killed or something. I understand that. I feel them. I'm not without heart. But if we can't do it, we can't do it. If it's harmful, it's harmful. If it's difficult, it's difficult. If there's nothing you do, there's nothing you can do. Trump says that he's going to try to like prevent the migrants from entering the U.S. by putting the military on the southern border and closing the border. And based on the behavior of the caravan so far, oh god, that is going to be a bloodbath for sure. That is going to be an absolute bloodbath. They're going to try the typical tactics they used on Mexico, but you know what? The U.S., we're like a completely different animal from Mexico. The tactics that you worked on the Mexicans are definitely not going to work on us. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath if Trump follows through with the military. It's like, hey, Holmes, let us in. And then the U.S. military would be like, this is our sovereign territory. You go home. It's like, we might take women and children, but the migrant workers, we'll take the women and children, like maybe put them in a camp. But this is just going to be difficult for everybody, and I don't see this ending well. This is going to be either a bloodbath, a financial disaster, a civil disaster, or possibly even a mix of all three. I think they should just go home. We should give them some food, some water to support them, and then just send them back. We've got enough migrants as it is, and we've got too many damn sanctuary cities, and it's a mess. And it's the Democrats' fault, honestly. It really is the Democrats' fault. Yeah, fuck the stupid Dems, just stupid Democrats. This nonsensical, weak-ass border policy that made the situation in the first place. And we're already sending financial aid and what we can to Honduras. Personally, I think we should withdraw our military from wherever else, you know, from like the Middle East, and just let that be what that is for now, and like coordinate with the Honduran government and use the military to take out the drug cartels. Maybe, I mean, that could be a mess too, but that would certainly be better than the current situation, for sure. And you know, keeping drugs illegal, that just puts the drugs into the hands of the cartels. You know, it's like the alcohol prohibition. It's the same situation, more or less. Too much government creates problems. Hardcore libertarian, right here. But ultimately, I think this whole thing's probably going to be a disaster. This caravan is going to make a huge mess, no matter how you look at it. But I sincerely hope that things just don't end up turning into some kind of huge disaster, because it very well could. Military bloodbath, violent altercations, something just cultural issue, financial issue. This is major. This is the biggest migrant group ever. And no matter which scenario happens, financial crisis, cultural crisis, bloodbath, it's not going to be pretty. And I think their desire just to come here to the U.S. is no less selfish than our desire to keep them out. I think we should just keep them out, and that would keep them out and send them home, and that would be much less of a burden on all of us. Anyway, juice.